All right, thanks. I want to kind of recap what we have kind of shipped in 2025 and what's coming in February and what's coming beyond in the Q1 itself. So while planning for this presentation, I was like saying to Nick, oh, give more time to Sapir and Pere. I don't need more than 10 minutes. Then I'm putting together slides. The amount of stuff that we shipped, I think, we probably need a couple more sessions, long sessions to kind of go over everything, which is great. We had really busy 2025, kind of redefined what a data governance, quality, observability, and discovery looks like in the modern world. And we are excited for 26, how we want to shape the product that's pretty much, if you think of, hey, I want to do this in the governance, or I want to do this in discovery, or I want to enable my AI agents, like as Sapir showing just now, anything you can think of, it's probably already shipped in open metadata. So just want to highlight, I don't want to kind of read through everything. And even this is a filtered list of things that we have done. So I want to fit that into one slide. So the biggest things that we want to call out from a governance, right? So if you're coming into open metadata Collate, hey, I have millions of data assets, or I have thousands or millions of data columns that I need to get into same definitions, same glossary terms, tags. How do I actually keep up with the scale of that, right? It's not humanly possible. So that's one of the reasons we shipped automations. So you can actually set and put certain condition. Think of IFTT, but IFTTT for your metadata. Then we started building the data contracts sometime in the Q2 of 2025. We shipped the APIs and the schema. Then we built the entire UI within the open metadata. So data contracts within the open source open metadata, you can build right from the UI, not just building the contracts. Most of the kind of products fall or stop there. They either give you a specification, they give you a UI at most. I haven't seen anyone doing that yet. But essentially, that's a data contract. But for us, what is a data contract if you're not enforcing the rules? There are some questions coming in while Sapir is doing the talk. Is, hey, how do you enforce certain rules, right? What is a test case rules? What is a data contract rules? All of those can be enforced. The data contract that we ship is actually enforceable. There's a check that runs, and it tells you, it gives you an alert if something is failing. There is huge amount of improvements went into glossaries and domains from UI UX standpoint. There is now a bit of adding assets in the bulk to the glossaries and domains. And then there is automated approval workflows where you can say that, hey, if any changes that is happening to our assets, now this is where the important things comes into, right? Like I have a tier one assets. I want that to be reviewed by my team before anyone can make changes. Among hundreds of thousands of assets, I want to kind of focus on tier one assets. You can create an approval workflow for across the data assets ecosystem, saying that any change that happens to these assets, it should go to approval workflow. Then only those changes becomes live. And metrics catalog, we introduced back in Jan of 25. From there, we continue to kind of iterate and improve. This is where you can centralize all of your metrics. And the metrics gives you an expression and gets all of your teams into standard definitions. So often in the companies, we kind of debate about what is a ARR means, what is a customer lifetime value means, what is a churn rate means. If you ask different teams, they have different interpretation of that. So that's what we kind of focus on, getting those standards and putting into one metrics catalog. The benefit of that is now you can use your chatbots, your MCP servers. Anyone asking a customer ARR, you can use OpenMetadata MCP server to power and say that, hey, only use these standard metrics that we defined here. And more on this is we are pushing, if you have a DBT metrics, we're pulling that into Collate, open metadata. If you have Snowflake, if you have any other platform that you're defining metrics, we can pull the metrics from there and put it into open metadata metrics catalog. What I want to kind of focus on from governance point of view, what we are building in February, we already did a release candidate, so please take a look and give us any feedback. We are going through the testing phase right now. One of the interesting things that we are doing as part of 1.12 is the column manager. You may have columns again defined kind of loosely here, which is a table can have a column. topic can have a field. You may have S3 bucket or Azure data file system with different JSON payloads or Avro payloads. Each may have a column that belongs, have a same definition. Think of for example, address underscore ID. That is a column that might exist in table, topic, containers, your file systems or whatnot. You want to set the same definitions, same terms, same glossaries. That's what column manager will do. It will aggregate all of these columns in one place and allows you to set in a bulk. And it's great to hear from the community, hey, data contracts is amazing, but my organization wants to kind of look through open data contracts specifications. Again, we try to educate as much as possible. The data contract that we ship in OpenMetadata has a lot more capabilities, covers a lot more umbrella items than what ODCS 3.1 support. But, the customers who are the community wants to adapt ODCS, that's great. You can now import ODCS 3.1 into OpenMetadata. It gets if there is a contract already, it merges the contract with ODCS, and you may have existing contracts defined in OpenMetadata. You can export them as ODCS as well, and it's a full compatibility. It's coming in 1.12. Again, please give us any further inputs here. Great to see kind of community engaging in the data contracts here. Finally, on the data governance, immediate roadmap is data product input output ports. Again, a lot of community feedback here as well. What others are doing in terms of specification, we adapted into OpenMetadata here as well. So now, not only you can actually go to the data product, what are the asset that belongs to a data product that makes the data product functional, but what exactly the asset that is influencing this particular data product, what is the output that this data product is producing it. Again, we're going to go into more kind of show and tell in our February once the release is finalized. But these are the exciting features that's coming from governance, what we shipped at a high level in 2025. And I want to kind of introduce Collate AI. I know it's a large umbrella. From an open metadata point of view, we shipped MCP server. Again, there is a lot of adoption input that came in. How do we better fine-tune the responses that we are giving from MCP? More tooling to be added from the MCP server. And obviously, the more MCP protocol itself is evolving. If you're using older versions of open metadata with MCP enabled and using latest cursor, there is a protocol change that happened. So we immediately kind of improved that in 1.11.6. We added the latest protocol compatibility, which is great. It does now both backward compatible older versions as well as the newer versions. From a Collate standpoint, we have shipped a lot of AI features coming into 2025. If you haven't checked out our Ask Collate, feel free to go and look at one of our videos. And it gives you ChatGPT kind of interface to all of your data. And not only that, enables agents to be built. We shipped auto-tiering of data assets, auto-suggesting of DS test, and natural language search, among all the things. So, and we didn't stop there. Chatting with metadata is great. Enabling your agents with metadata is great. But we built SQL Studio right on top of Collate and OpenMetadata, where the natural language questions that are coming to Ask Collate can directly interact with the data and provide you visualization and everything. And what we are shipping in this quarter in February is the MCP improvements I just talked about. Ask Collate Slack is shipped so that you can do all the nice things, cool things from Ask Collate right in your Slack. And we are with the same input, we are doing it in MS Teams as well. What I'm specifically excited about is auto classifications. Auto classifications of OpenMetadata has always been great based on the ML models that we use. Now we are allowing our users to create their own rules. So you can go to a tag and set recognizers of, hey, I want to apply this pattern, or I want to apply this context to a tag. And auto classification will pick up that definition and run it during its runtime and suggest or apply those tags automatically. So a lot of improvements coming into auto classification itself. From a data discovery insights, one of the major change that we have done, obviously the new UI UX went into 1.7 sometime in February of 25. And on the same lines, we built a persona-based customization. We recognize that OpenMetadata is a horizontal platform that can do many things, but an organization has different personas, right? Someone interested in data governance, someone interested in data engineering, data quality, observability, someone just want to find from analytics point of view what data set I should be using. So the platform itself should fine tune to those users' responsibilities, those users' wants. So we built end-to-end persona customization. You can kind of edit everything from navigation to landing page from each asset. What is the tab called? What is the widgets that you want to show? Pretty much across the board that we have released in open source as well. Lineage, a lot of feedback came in. It's great to hear again when a lot of our customers and the community using at a scale, the challenges are different. So we built a lineage that can scale to 10,000 plus nodes. And lineage is hierarchical. That means you can visualize the lineage at the platform level. That is, which platform is reading to which platform. Like MySQL, data is going through Fivetran and going all the way to your Kafka topics, or your S3 buckets, or your Redshifts or whatnot. And then we build domain level lineage, data products lineage, image upload and attachments, bulk edit support in the UI across the board. You can edit directly at a table level, at a schema level, at a database level. Again, making the managing of metadata much more simpler. A lot of improvement to browser extension in open source as well as in Collate. So what we are bringing into Q1 in February is the column level custom properties. Now, custom properties can be extendable to column level. Improved explore navigation, you will see a lot more easy to, I want to browse, I want to get all the details about a table, dashboard, chart, whatnot. You don't need to leave the explore page anymore. You can get all of the details right there. If you want to edit any of the assets, if you have permissions right in the explore, you can do so. And lineage improvements, lineage is a continuous, it's never the solved problem. Everyone has certain opinion, certain great ideas that we want to kind of bring in. What we have done is to improve the UI further is, if I'm looking at a column level, I want to see how the relation from one column to other columns are going through end to end. So that highlight comes through really nicely. Obviously, we did impact analysis. There are further improvements to impact analysis in here. Finally, open lineage compatible APIs, right? What we have shipped so far is you have a OpenMetadata open lineage compatible connector that you can deploy with Spark. It will emit in the language that we understand, in the APIs that we understand. Now we just provide an open lineage API endpoint. So if you have events shipped into Kafka, you can just point that to this new API endpoint. Automatically, it will bring in all the open lineage events and connect those lineage events right in OpenMetadata. Again, if you've seen the kind of the philosophy that we have kind of going with is, if you have a standard that you are kind of really loud and kind of want to get into OpenMetadata, you don't need to change anything. We are trying to make this as simple as possible for companies and organizations to adapt. So everything is coming into open source. You don't need to change point to the OpenMetadata API endpoints. All of these things will be automatically done for you. Now into the observability. From an observability standpoint, data quality standpoint, OpenMeta has reached a next level heights, beyond, what any other competition are in commercially available. So we have a data observability dashboard, understanding how the data quality is looking for data assets across the board, right? Alert debuggability. If you go to the alerts and you see, hey, I'm not getting certain alerts or something like that, you see what is the offset that we are reading into the change events, the alert events. And it also shows all the events that are successfully delivered, and also, excuse me, that are alerts that are failed to deliver. So exact payload. So if you configure email alerts, if you configure Slack or MS Teams or Webhook, if you're seeing something is not working out right, you can go to the alert page and see all the details of what's going on. And Spark-based profiler, you may have petabytes of data. How do you scale the profiler? So instead of just building a SQL-based, we also build a Spark-based profiler that can run across huge amounts of data on your data warehouse. Alert templates, the default ones that we send out, hey, here is a test case, here is a failed reason and whatnot. Now we improve the alert templates. You can customize essentially the styling of it, on the content of it, what you want to send as an alert to your teams. Lineage-based alert propagation. So if you have a table at the root level that is failing, you want to notify all the downstream users. Could be other tables, could be other dashboards deriving from that. And right now you set the alert and you say that anyone downstream also should get the alert. They'll get that too. And we talked about cardinality support in 1.11. If you haven't, please check out. It's an amazing feature available in open source OpenMetadata itself. Spark Profiler UI. Initially, we shipped Spark Business Profiler as a way for you to kind of run a job. Now you can actually configure the Profiler UI, Spark Profiler right from the UI. We also improved bulk APIs for kind of, I think this feature needs to get into ingestion, but came into data quality. The other important feature that we shipped in 1.11 is the data quality as code. So far, when you're running a profiler, you're trying to run a test, it's after the fact, right? The data has already made it into table, and you're now detecting the errors of what's going on. How we can prevent the data being landed before even before even being used, and detecting the issues after the fact. So data quality as a code, now you can define the test in OpenMetadata and use the data quality as code and embed that into your ETL tools, could be any of those ETL tools, and operate on the data frame itself, saying that, hey, column should follow this pattern. Now you can check on the data frame if it's actually following that pattern, and then decide to either drop the data right to another table or ingest the data, but with the data being, hey, this data is not good. I'm going to flag this as a test case failure. Gives you a full control of, hey, I want to prevent the data quality issues ever happen versus I want to detect the data quality happen, right? And one of the important things about data quality or observability is pipeline observability, right? So far, we are talking about data quality in the context of data itself. The pipelines are the ones that are moving the data, right? Are they running on time? If they're not running on the time, that means your data is not fresh. Are they running into any errors? That means your data itself is dropped. So we provide an end-to-end dashboard of what is a pipeline looks like, when they ran, how long it took. Again, how long it took is also important because you are meeting certain SLAs. And if they fail, why they failed, and when is their next scheduled run. And you can kind of detect all of these things through the pipeline observability. Now, all of this data, when I'm talking about, is available as a knowledge graph to your AI agents through your MCP and everything else, so that someone can ask these questions and build the bots on top of the data that we're shipping. And in Feb, we are shipping test library, which is, so far, when you look at OpenMetadata, I think we have roughly 50 templates of test cases that comes out of the works. You can look at like table row counts should be between these two. Column value is not null. Column must follow this kind of regular expression. These are all defined, which is great. And we also have custom SQL query where you can add your own custom queries that we may not cover, right? These are all business use cases that you can actually build. With the test library, you can templatize these SQLs and say that, hey, for calculating certain things, here is the right way to do in our company. And every of your user can reuse that template and standardize your test cases that way, rather than 10 people writing 10 different custom SQLs or 10 different test cases. We'll go in deep in February meetup, this really amazing feature that we are adding in 1.12. Test case import export, how do you do bulk import export so that you can scale? If you have 10,000 columns, how can you manage these rules across the board easily? There is a lot of improvements that went into data def. And finally, time zone aware freshness test, like how do you kind of localize the time zone to the operator that they are working on. Finally, on the platform side, I'll just go quickly. So we added the Java 21 Draft Wizard. Just a step back from a platform, our goal is always to give you the latest platform with zero vulnerabilities. So we make sure whenever a release happens, there is a zero vulnerabilities, all the dependencies that we do. So every time we are making a big change here, like Java 21 or Draft Wizard 4.x, the goal is to make sure that every organization who's depending on this service, the images that you're using has zero vulnerabilities. And that's been the goal. And that's one of the reasons we went and upgraded Java 21 and Draft Wizard. We added Redis as a cache support. There are a lot of performance improvements maintained from a search reindex, bulk retrieval for paginations, and everything else. And we also built a Terraform module for OSS users to kind of deploy easily in the cloud platform of their choice. There is search RBAC. So if you're going and looking at, hey, I'm building an access control policies, but it's not applied in Explore, there is an options in setting search. You can enable RBAC there. It depends on the organization philosophy, right? Some organization feels like that data should be discoverable. Some organization, hey, we have certain domains, we want to restrict that, even looking at the data. So all of that customization and self-tuning is available right now. And most importantly, search relevancy tuning. By default, we try to make as good of a matching algorithm that we can, but we understand that each organization is different. Someone might say that, hey, PI sensitive data should be ranked higher, or certain tags should be ranked higher. You can go into search relevancy tuning in settings and kind of customize every aspect of your ranking algorithm. What fields we match, what fields you should match. Oh, I have custom properties. I want to match custom properties by default. I don't want people to come and select the filters. You can do pretty much everything across the board. We introduced RDF and ontology support. I don't want to go too much details into this one. We have a big announcements coming in the future. We're going to talk about that. We also released SDK 2.0. There's a huge documentation update that's coming in next few weeks. We're going to talk in February at length on that. Is to give you really a fluent like API to make it really, really easy. We see a lot of our community users using the APIs, which is great, which is where we want to be. And with that, we actually added SDK 2.0 to make it really, really simple to build not just applications, kind of use APIs easily. E-tag support, again, for concurrency. If you have multiple users, multiple agents modifying the same object at the same field, how do we maintain the sanctity of that metadata changes? So that's where we added E-tag for version control of that. Coming into February, we are shipping Dropwizard 5x and Jetty 12.1. Again, in the name of, hey, we want to be in the latest and greatest release of with the zero vulnerabilities, again, at the time of release. So this is, again, another big change that we're shipping. Distributed search indexing. And in general, we recommend, depending on obviously your scalability requirements and everything else, you should be running multiple OpenMetadata servers to scale up. So for search indexing, when you trigger a job, it's running using the one server's resources. Now we are scaling. Now not only we are scaling the job, but also distributing the work it needs to do in terms of indexing. So it does really efficiently, and in terms of performance, it's really great. Audit logs right within the UI. So audit logs are already available in the server logs. There is an audit log that drops in the logs for your own changes. What we are doing, again, in the interest of how do you monitor from a human change, from a bot change, from an AI agent change? All of these audit logs, anything that is changing, users login, logouts, and everything is recorded. Admin-only feature. You can download these logs from the UI for your offline analysis or not. Most importantly, what it does is, hey, how do I recognize some AI agents using the metadata? How they are making the changes to the metadata itself. So you can actually filter by user, filter by the bot, filter by the AI agents that you have. And we just talked about KIT's native scheduler. Open metadata from very beginning, we said that, hey, the deployment has to be as simple as possible. We are coming from distributed systems. We built and scaled for Uber and big companies before, but our philosophy is it needs to be simple, it needs to be scalable to big organizations. So we essentially shipped 4 components. One is the Open Metadata server, your database, MySQL or Postgres, your search engine for OpenSearch or Elastic. Then finally, we decided to use Airflow because that was ubiquitous across the board. And as Pere was saying, how do we simplify even further? If you're using Kubernetes, all you need is Kubernetes cluster right now with a Postgres or MySQL from your favorite cloud provider, same with another search engine. So even simpler in 2026 to deploy OpenMetadata and run it at a scale. Then finally, integration side, we'll ship 25 new connectors, including the reverse metadata, cross-service lineage, a lot of improvements in terms of crossing the lineage itself. I think any questions that are coming and the support that we are addressing holistically and kind of shipping this improvements as soon as possible. That's one of the reasons we do weekly releases, saying that, hey, community is giving us feedback, we need to respond as soon as possible. Hope you are seeing the support velocity that we do, the care that we show in the community. And ingestion is one of the core functionalities. Obviously, you want to get the metadata, and not only getting the metadata into OpenMetadata Collate, but how do you ship the metadata back into services itself, so that OpenMetadata is the truly centralized metadata platform that you're using. We are shipping 4 new connectors. Some of the exciting things is Start Rocks being asked by many of the community members, so we're shipping that. We're also shipping SFTP, which is we introduced the drive as a service in sometime in August of last year. We shipped the Google Drive. Now the metadata is not about structured data, but also the unstructured data that is logged in your drives. Could be a Google Drive, could be a SharePoint, could be an SFTP. All of the data can come into OpenMetadata itself. think that covers it. Again, amazing kind of velocity that we ship the product. One of the things that I think we if I remember roughly, have released close to that, if not more. We are doing a major release every 2 months, and there is a minor release every Wednesday that is going, and with improvements, bug fixes, anything that community is giving feedback on. I'm sure a lot of these features that we talked about, you probably adapted. Oh, I requested this at some point. I needed this at some point. So that's the feedback that we are getting, and it's really great to see the community and the open metadata developers come working together and making a huge success for metadata in the landscape. So thanks everyone.